The Canes, I'm calling it the whack-a-mole, continued. If you need another kind of analogy, the old school cartoons like Bugs Bunny or whatever, where there's a hole in the boat and you put your thumb in it, then a hole sparks somewhere else, you put your finger in it, hole sparks. All right, now I got to put my Bugs Bunny's ear in that hole, and then another, and you just now you got to take this hand and that one's leaking, and you just there's too many holes and you got to try to keep them all plugged. The whack-a-mole continued. I thought, and this is 100% true, starting last week, one of my biggest complaints of the Canes kind of was not an issue. The edge, the spark, the people feeling that they were sluggish and deciding I need to be the one to go light the fire. It wasn't there the past 3 or 4 games. When they kind of hit a lull, somebody did. And oftentimes Jordan Staal did find a way to ignite the crowd or ignite the team or make the move to change the momentum. That was very pleasant. And I attribute some of it to the fact that it was a Staal weekend and Jordan Staal wasn't going to leave that weekend without making a few plays, and he did. Which, by the way, on Friday, I had first goal scorer prediction. Nailed it because I picked Jordan Staal in the first. Not to pat myself on the back, but to say Jordan Staal sent some moments from the hat trick to opening the scoring the next day. He did a lot of good things. So it's, as that whack-a-mole was smacked on the head, another one popped up on our backside, our blind side, which is the other most concerning thing, the other thing we've been tracking all season, which is the goaltending issue. How confusing of a weekend was it for Canes goaltending? You win in a shutout, 2-0 against Vancouver, with Dustin Tokarski in net. Then you come back on Sunday with your first goalie, right, with Pyotr Kochetkov in net. He gives up a couple of softies, and suddenly you lose an OT. It's all right, where you've solved this other thing that's been drawing concern, you got that taken care of. This other one that we thought was being fixed is over here now sprouting a leak. And as soon as, I guarantee you, as soon as Kochetkov starts playing better, if he does start playing better, as soon as Freddie gets back in the mix and they can go back to their 1-1-1-1 rotation, as soon as that's happening, right then I'll be sitting here going, somebody's got to be the sandpaper again. That's how this season feels for the Canes. That's how this season feels for the Canes. They're still, and this is why they're still a good team. Right? We were talking off air, and Dennis just goes like, "They're still going to make the playoffs," and I'm like, "Yeah, there's no arguing that. They're still a good team. They will still make the playoffs." That's that's one of those two things can be true at the same time. They're winning enough to still be a top third of the league team. They're winning enough to still be an assumed playoff team. They're winning enough to still know that if things break their way, they could go on a run, and they aren't winning as often as they should. They aren't winning as often as they should. And in the NHL, obviously you have the weird point system, so the loss in OT isn't as bad as a regulation loss, and you can do all of that. It still goes back to what we were talking about. They have not won 3 consecutive games since their most dominant 3-game stretch of the season from November 16th to 20th when they outscored opponents 12-2. Ottawa, St. Louis, and Philly. 4-0, 4-1, 4-1. At that point in time, if you would have told me you won't win 3 games in a row again until at least mid-January, if you win the next 3, it would be January 20th is when you'd get it done, I would have told you were crazy. I would have said there's too much talent on this roster. I would have said they're playing too well. I would have said something along the lines of, with the way Natchez is playing. And little did I know that streak or that little stumble would include Natchez taking a big step back in production. There's a lot of things that this team does very, very well. There seems to always be one thing holding them back from stringing together a whole bunch of really good games. And that again, the Anaheim game's no different. Rod Brind'Amour after the game felt like they controlled the game mostly against the Ducks.
We had a few good looks, and kind of whiffed. There was just some weird plays that just wasn't tonight. I mean, right away, even in the first period, I think Netzi has a beautiful look. It was off the bar maybe, or like those are the inches here or there that just changes the whole game. So I'm going to look at it from the positive side of things. I thought it was a 60-minute. I thought it was a solid game, and I loved how we certainly didn't quit and found a way to at least tie it up.
They found a way to at least tie it up. For some reason, I don't think in Rod's inner monologue, finding a way to at least tie it up really got him that jacked up, other than getting the 1 point. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna right here, right now. We just got an email, and this shows you that I am paying attention. This comes from Stuart. Stuart said, "Let's not forget without Pyotr's amazing play versus Toronto on Thursday, could have been 5-0 halfway through the first period with all the breakaways. Let's not forget on goal number 1 versus Anaheim, the goal scorer was wide open in front of the net and took a pass that no one defended. It's not all on 52. The reason why I'm putting that email up is because I said something similar earlier today. I said to Adam Gold, right? Because you may not believe this, but we're all sports nerds around here, and even when we're not on air, we're still talking about sports. Talk about Pyotr Kochetkov, and he was going to go in, and I'm sure if you were listening to his show from 12 to 3, he revealed this, but he was doing all the math on how expected goals and how many points that Pyotr Kochetkov may have caused or I should say cost the Canes. And one of the things I said was, I've been a big Pyotr guy in the past, and it always felt like he was perceptible to a softie or two, but he always made 2 or 3 spectacular plays to steal a goal in addition to it, and it hasn't been that same ratio this year. He's letting softies and great saves in more to 1-to-1 than he's done in the past, which makes it a little less appetizing for me. And Adam basically said, yeah, except all good goalies make special saves occasionally. Right, we're not. Again, it's the Canes thing. We're not comparing you to the bad goalies. We're comparing you to the good goalies. And right against Anaheim, you get Natchez with half the net wide open in front of him. He connects with it. Right, puts a good shot on it. Get just a piece. Stop that play is taking a goal off the board. Other goalies can do that too. So you're right. Like, it's not saying that Pyotr Kochetkov never makes good plays, never makes great plays. He does. It's that the good goalies, the ones that are worthy of being contending team goalie ones, occasionally make the spectacular plays and way more consistently don't give up the softies. And I went into it with a very similar thought to Stuart, and you got to tip your cap to somebody that knows more than you, right? Know what you don't know. Adam put me on business pretty quick, which I appreciate, because I don't need all the 2 compliments and a criticism. Like, just if I'm missing something here, tell me. So Stuart, no disrespect, I was right there with you. I think you're missing something.